Hey everyone, thanks so much for tuning in. I am happy to present this information to you on WPGeoDirectory. I've been working with WPGeoDirectory for roughly 30 days now, and I'm really liking the way it works. I've bought multiple different types of directories from multiple different providers over the years, and none of them really offer what WPGeoDirectory is offering. So overall I'm really satisfied with the product, and I think you will be too. Where I'm at right now, and my reason for shooting this particular video, is I have multiple domains that I wanted to basically set up the initial directory with all of the icons and information, just the basics, and then take that framework or the basic outline of the site and then move it to the other domain names, and then put in the specifics for each of the domain names. I have quite a few domain names that are waiting for directory websites, so I'm excited to really get working with the product. So I did my first migration, and those of you who've seen my other videos on migrations, you know I do everything manually. I download the files, I move them all over, I open my database, I do a search and replace through my text editor, and then I import the database. Well, I did that this time, and I actually ran into an issue with WPGeoDirectory. So because of that issue, I kind of poked around at it a little bit, and I said, well, before I go too far, let me send a message to support. And I found some other articles in their forum, and the articles that I found did not have an end result for me, which was kind of disheartening that they didn't go back and elaborate on what they did to repair the problem. So that's why I wanted to take the initiative to do this. So that way, if you're in this position months from now or whatnot, you don't need to wait for support. On that note, I will say, my first response from support came under 2 hours from when I initially posted to their forum. So that's fantastic. Now, right now is New Year's Day, and I put this question up on New Year's Eve last night, and within 2 hours I had an answer, or at least someone responding. So the thread goes, and I'm sure if you look it up in their forum after you're a WPGeoDirectory member, you'll be able to see my comments. But I basically opened it up and I said, you know, this is my problem. I saw this other forum entry, but I'm a little curious as to what I can do to fix the problem. And then they asked me, do I have a backup of my database? And naturally I said yes. And their response was, you will need to restore the database and then run Better Search Replace plugin. Okay, so before I uploaded the database, I tried to run the Better Search plugin. It didn't work out, so I was in the same position. Let me show you exactly what I'm getting. So my original site was lunchinphoenix.com. Directory websites about places to have lunch. Pretty simple, right? So not only do I have lunch in Phoenix, but I also have lunch in Scottsdale. Scottsdale is the town next to Phoenix, in case you didn't know. So because I have those two domain names, I wanted to make the sites very, very similar, but separate URLs. So I got everything in, and it kind of moved over with the search and replace, and I was left with, you know, my headers and everything had changed over from my search replace through Sublime Text like I normally do. However, my icon, you could see this icon right here, didn't show. I had a picture here and that didn't show, and my icon here is missing. My social media and all my widgets are kind of messed up down here. So there was some problems with the front of the site. Now in the WordPress dashboard, right between comments and GeoDirectory, there's supposed to be something called places, and that's not there anymore. You'll see it on this screen. This is Lunch in Phoenix. You'll see places over here. and in Lunch in Scottsdale you can see they're not there. Okay, so what do we do? What do we do now? I really didn't know what course to take. In their support, they said replace the database and then run search and replace. Here's the problem with that though. If I upload the database from Lunch in Phoenix to Lunch in Scottsdale, I won't be able to log into the WordPress dashboard because the URL will still say Lunch in Phoenix, so it won't log me into the WordPress dashboard in order to run better search and replace. So this can create a huge problem for people who don't know how to edit their database. They won't know what to do, and they'll be in a real big pickle. So that is my reason for shooting this video. This is definitely going to be useful to somebody when they need it. So right now the database that's running is the old database that has the search and replace from my text editor. I'm going to take you through the process of editing the database in order to follow the instructions that they're giving you. So this hosting account here is where the original Lunch in Phoenix website is, and we're going to go into PHPMyAdmin, and I've already made note of my database, which one it is, so you'll want to know what your database is. If you don't know how to get that, just open up your WP config file and that'll show you. So here is the database, and then to confirm that you're in the right database, you can always click on WP options, and then right up here, this first row, you'll see your URL right there. Great. So since I've got that and I verified it, I will click back on my database name, and then I've got all of these database tables. I can check all, and then using this export button at the top, you click export, because I'm just exporting my database, taking a copy. So that's shot down to my desktop here, and I'm going to do a show in Finder, and then here is my database here in my downloads folder. I'm just going to right click and open that, and now that I've got my database open, there's a couple of changes that I'm going to make, a few changes that I'm going to make. First change that I'm going to make is the database name. All right, and we need to make that match, not the file name. The file name is really not important. It's the actual database name inside the database file. So let me show you how to do that. Going into the hosting account for Lunch in Scottsdale, we're going to click on PHPMyAdmin. All right, and then we've got our database here, and again, I already know what this database is, or what the database name is. So here's the database here, and this database is the one that's wrong. And even though it's wrong, I do have a backup of it as well, but we don't need it. So I'm just going to check all and then drop, and it's going to drop these tables and basically delete all that information out of there. So now that that's deleted, I'm going to go ahead and highlight this database name, because that's the database name I'm going to have to name in this database over here. And then you can see I got this database name. I'm going to paste that in there. Okay, so that's the first change you're going to make. The second change you're going to make is, the site URL, and I'm going to show you how to search for that. Oh, it's already in there, https lunchinphoenix.com. So you can just search your name, the name of your site, and that's not it, that's not it, this is it. So it's going to be under this WP options table, and under WP options you're going to see site URL, and you can see that this says lunchinphoenix.com. We're going to want to change that to lunchinScottsdale.com, because that's where the site is going to. So since I already have the URL here, I'm just going to highlight it and copy it, because if you watch my other videos, you know I always highlight and copy whenever I can. And then the second thing you're going to want to change is this home right here, because the site URL tells the WordPress installation what the name of the website is, and the home URL that you see me have highlighted right here, that tells WordPress what the name of the home page is supposed to be, the home page URL. Okay, so paste that in, Lunch in Scottsdale. So now those are the 3 changes that you need to make in order to get the database to work in the new hosting account. And the 2 URLs are going to allow you to be able to log into your WordPress dashboard so that we can run the better search and replace. All right, so once you've made those 3 changes, you save it. On a Mac, it's Open Apple S or Command S. On a PC, it's Control S. And that'll save it right back to your downloads folder here. Now again, even though we changed the database name in the actual database, this file name here is not all that important at all. You can change it if you like. It's totally up to you, but I'm going to show you right now that you don't have to. So we've got our database selected here, and we're going to import. Then you grab your database and you just drop it right over where it says choose file, and then you click the go button. And that's going to import your database into PHPMyAdmin. So once this completes, and it is already done, we're going to see what changes it's made and what other changes we may have to do. So let's pop back over here into our Lunch in Scottsdale website. I verified that up here, and I'm just going to click on the home icon there, and we'll see what we've got. So now instead of saying Lunch in Scottsdale here, it says Lunch in Phoenix. It says Lunch in Phoenix here. So that's wrong, but at least we're on the right track. I've got my icon here. My map is now showing here in this area. My icon is showing here, so this is good. We're definitely on the right track. My picture is back right here. So these are things that you want to see. My social media icons are all there now. Yeah, so this is looking pretty good. So great. Now our next step is going to be running the Better Search and Replace plugin. So this is our Lunch in Scottsdale dashboard. It logged us out because we've swapped the database. So let's swap that database back, okay? Or not swap the database, I'm sorry. Let's log back in with our credentials. Now, because the database came from Lunch in Phoenix, I'm actually going to be logging in with the Lunch in Phoenix WordPress login credentials, okay? Because you'll have to change that in the user section once you're in the dashboard. Okay, so let me go ahead and get those credentials now. All right, so that was successful and it logs us back in. So now we're in the Lunch in Scottsdale dashboard again, and you can see we still don't have our places, but we're going to use this GeoDirectory, or this Better Search and Replace plugin that they recommend to go ahead and get our site back showing. So let's see here. We've got our settings. It is actually normally under Tools, but it's not there. So let's check our plugins, make sure that it's still installed. And it's not activated, so let's go ahead and activate that. Okay, so now that it is activated, we should be able to hover over Tools, and then we can see it Better Search and Replace. All right, so first thing we are going to search for is our URL Lunch in Phoenix, right? And we're going to change it to Lunch in Scottsdale. So I'm going to highlight this, paste it into here, because we are going to search for Lunch in Phoenix, and then we are going to change it to Lunch in Scottsdale. All right. So before you do this, before you run this, before you run this, one thing that I did run into, and I'll go ahead and run through this, and I will show you what it's going to do. But you have your URL here that you're searching for. This is what you're going to. If you select one of these and just do an Control A or Open Apple A, it'll highlight them all because we're going to search the entire database for it. And then this particular option, case sensitive, I'm not really sure about this one. The way they worded it is really bad. It's case sensitive ? Searches are case sensitive by default. So what does that mean? Does that mean by default, if it's unchecked, it's just going to be case sensitive? Or does a check in the box mean that it's going to not be case sensitive? That's really, really confusing, and I don't know why they didn't use the language that they used underneath. If unchecked, if unchecked, searches are case sensitive. That's it. Then you know if it's unchecked, searches are case. So a lot of times, I know these plugin developers are really brilliant guys, and I'm not taking anything away from them, but I've met a lot of brilliant people, and they really, a lot of times, have a hard time explaining things in layman's terms. So this is one of those times. And then we got a dry run. So if you don't want to change anything, you can check this. And GUIDs, there's nothing here that is on a GUID or a GUID for me, so I'm not concerned with that. And we're just going to run this. So if you are on a shared hosting account, this actually takes up a lot of power to do this. This plugin sucks up a lot of power. And it may cause errors. It may cause a white screen to happen while you see this processing these tables right down here. A couple of times I've gotten a white screen, and if you do get a white screen, I'll show you what to do. I was trying to get it to do it, but it didn't. Okay, so during the search and replay, 31 tables were searched, and they found 21 cells and 21 updates. So it updated everything, which is good. We're going to check out this setting. So if you do get a white screen while you're running this process, you would come into the settings here, and you turn this max page size. You just turn that down. Turn it down to whatever you feels comfortable, and then you just click Save Changes, and that'll save it. I'm going to leave it at the 20,000 that it's set at, and maybe I'll get that error. So now that we've got one of the way I have this configured set up, which is the URL, the actual https://URL from Lunch in Phoenix to Lunch in Scottsdale, I'm going to refresh my site and see what I've got now. Okay, so let's go to Lunch in Scottsdale. Okay, so I refreshed that, and I'm not seeing any significant changes as of yet. I see that these are broken. My social media icons are broken. But overall, I still have my icons. And now you'll see in my dashboard over here for Lunch in Scottsdale, I've now got my places back. So we're on the right track. We're definitely going in the right direction, and I like that. So first thing we want to search for, or the next thing we want to search for, in my case, because I have the URL, and then I have Lunch in Phoenix Camel Humped, which is what I have highlighted on the screen right here. This is called Camel Humped, where the first letter of the word is capitalized and the rest of the word is lowercase. So I'm going to need to search for the camel humps, and then I'm going to have to search for the spaces as well. So I'm going to have to do both of those in my case. Your case may be different. It's something you'll have to work out in your own head, but we'll just go through that process right now. So for me, Lunch in Phoenix, and then we're going to search for, or change it to Scottsdale. So it was Lunch in Phoenix. We're going to change it to Lunch in Scottsdale. And I can't get over this. The language here is searches are case sensitive by default. So I'm guessing that if I leave it unchecked, it is automatically going to be case sensitive. That's just an assumption. So let's go ahead and look and change out those camel humps and see what we end up with. It's going through everything now. This is actually the second time that I've done this. I did it the first time and I shot the video, but unfortunately the audio was not connected with the video, so the only audio you had was that I had was coming through my camera, and the sound quality it's okay. I'm shooting it with a GoPro, but it just wasn't good enough for me. I really like you guys to be able to hear and have decent audio. That's why I use the blue microphone, because that really picks up well. It also blocks out a lot of the background noise. Cool. Check this out. So I got my camel hump replaced right up here, and then I've got my luncheon Phoenix is still there, but my picture is back in the background. So that means everything's getting connected slowly but surely. My social media is back. Okay, so that's a good thing. All right, so we're making headway here. Let's see, I'm gonna copy this spaced out, just paste it in there, paste it in there, and then change this to Scottsdale, Dale. So, and we're not gonna do a dry run. Make sure all these guys are selected, and we're gonna run that. Here's the error. An error occurred processing your request. Try decreasing the max page size or contact support. All right, so let's refresh our page here and see what that gets. So yeah, it gets an empty response. And what's happening right now is actually the resources on my hosting account have spun up and peaked. So my hosting account basically says, oh, you're out of RAM. We're going to shut you down. You're out of CPU. We're going to shut you down. And it's going to take just a minute for the hosting account to reset itself. So if I click on settings, you see I get the same thing. And that's because, again, my resources are peaked out on my hosting account. So they shut it down for a minute while it resets. So this will take just a moment to reset. Try and refresh. We'll try and refresh this. Okay, so my site's back up and the dashboard's working. Now, in light of seeing that, I'll let everyone know directory websites take up a lot of power to operate. So you're going to want to get a large hosting account or get a virtual private server to correctly run a directory website, especially if your directory website is going to be getting a lot of traffic. Because what you just saw is what your customers will see, the users of your website will see when they try to go to your site and there's a lot of people. So in my case, at lunchtime, there may be a lot of people searching. I'm going to move these from the shared hosting to my virtual private server once the development of it is complete. So keep that in mind. Now, for me, I'm going to go ahead and just move this all the way down to 2,000, and then we'll save the changes. We'll go back to this search and replace tab, and then I highlighted and copied the lunch in Scottsdale, and then I've got the lunch in Phoenix here. And again, I urge you, copy and paste as much as you can. To try and reduce errors. The more you type, you should type something once, make sure it's right, and then copy and paste as much as you can. So that's running here. And then I also have a course on Udemy now as well on WordPress security. I've wanted to put that out for quite some time, so I'll leave a link in the description, but especially for small businesses who only have an outgoing message. You just want people to kind of fill out a contact form or whatnot. Incredible security information for you there. All right, so great. Now my lunch in Scottsdale has changed. It's changed up here. This is what my menu is supposed to look like. Everything looks good. I've still got my social media icons, so that's good. My widgets are back now. In the footer here, this is actually changed in the functions.php, so I'll have to go in and change that manually, which I really wish they had a different way to do it. That is one of the things that I'm a little bit beside myself on, is you have to change this copyright manually and manually type in this 2018 lunchinphoenix.com. There's got to be a better way to do that with some PHP or something like that. And I also have had a little bit of an issue inserting scripts. So hooking in other scripts as well is something I haven't figured out how to do yet. When I do, I'll shoot a video on it, but it's something that hasn't worked for me yet. So, okay, so this is our directory and Lunch in Scottsdale. Everything's moved over. Everything looks to be working good. Working good, looking good. Our WordPress dashboard is still working. We've got our places back in. So I'm going to go ahead and call this good. Now, one final comment that I will go ahead and make is that in the initial forum forum thread that I read, there was something specific that the GeoDirectory text said, and that was the reason that you're experiencing it says the reason that you're experiencing the missing places right here. So the reason we're missing that is that means you broke all serialized strings. So I'm really curious as to what you broke all serialized strings really means. It kind of makes me leery of duplicate content. And that is actually a big concern for me, the duplicate content thing, because if let's say I've got 8 or 10 directories that are all kind of associated, which I do, so the topic is very close. So as I duplicate these, am I going to be leaving a trail of triple and quadruple content across the web? And that is really, really concerning to me. So I will inquire on that, and if you are in the or you should be a member of WPGeoDirectory by this time, you should be able to look up my forum comment, my forum thread, and see that and see the results of that. Other than that, I do like the plugin. I think it works very well at this point. It is working much better than any one of the other directory programs that I have tried, and I've tried a lot of them. So thanks again for watching. If you have questions at all or comments about how I did something or whatnot, go ahead and ask. Put it in the section below. I love it when people ask me questions, as you know. And I will see you all in the next video. Take good care, and happy 2018. Happy New Year to you. Health and prosperity. Bye-bye.